Okay, we're here today talking with David Vincent of Terrorizer, who you also probably know from Morbid Angel and his other current touring bands, Ultimas and I Am Morbid. Terrorizer is going to be playing a tour soon at the end of the month, and they're finishing up right here in Paris on December 19th. Terrorizer is playing with Possessed and Nightfall. So David, the original Terrorizer was short-lived. One album, a few months of existence, yet World Downfall became massively influential. You, Pete, and Jesse all went on to reshape extreme metal and other bands. Did you realize as the years passed how much impact that record was having?
Not until most recently. I mean, I knew it, it was kind of a cult thing, very quick. I think we recorded and mixed it in 2 or 3 days. The strange thing is because right after making that receipt, Pete had already joined Morbid Angel at the time. I didn't realize that, when I went over to actually flew over to England to deliver the master tapes to Digby at Earache, he said, "So what's going on with this Terrorizer?" I'm like, "Well, what do you mean what's going on with it?" He goes, "Well, you know that we have a record contract with him." I said, "I didn't know that, no." He goes, "So is there any way, I mean, could you get it together and get that record done?" I'm like, "Yeah, that no problem." So we did. And then shortly after recording that record, Jesse joined Napalm Death. So there really wasn't ever a tour back in the day. We decided to kind of, we got some demand for it. Actually, there was a promoter. It's a long story. I don't want to get too deep into it, but suffice it to say that a promoter said, "Hey, can you do some Terrorizer shows?" And I said, "Well, we probably could. Let me look into it." And we did, and we got all geared up to do so. Ended up not happening, but the fact that the word got out, all of a sudden, our agent just started getting, his phone was ringing off the hook about it, and I said, "Oh, well, let's do it." I mean, it's actually really fun. I enjoy doing all the different things that I do because each one of them is different. So with this, I get to just play bass.
So as I mentioned, at the end of the month, Terrorizer is going out on tour with Possessed, which is celebrating 40 years of 7 churches, along with Massacre and Nightfall. In your book, which is also called I Am Morbid, you mentioned digging that album, 7 Churches, when it came out.
Yeah, that was a big step in the evolution of extreme metal. When I first heard that, I mean, everything else, it just that was like, whoa, that was really something. So
there's been a growing wave of nostalgia tours for classic albums. What makes World Downfall worth revisiting now, in your opinion?
you'd have to ask the fans. I mean, personally, like I said, I enjoy it. I enjoy everything that I've done. But it seems to, hold a special place in people's hearts. It's a very, uh, there wasn't much that sounded like it.
Yeah,
Back in
sure.
the day. So yeah, I mean, I think, people were really excited about it. And we've done a few shows here and there, but this will be our first like tour.
Was it easy to relearn these songs after such a long time? How did it feel stepping back into the mindset of the young man who recorded World Downfall 35 years ago?
Well, gosh, it was. I mean, it's a little over 35 years at this point, because that was 1989. So we're in 2000, almost 2006. So yeah, it's it's interesting. Again, I mean, I had to listen to it a couple times. Like, what the hell did I do? Oh, that's what I did. All right. Um, because it's not something that I've lived sort of, on a daily basis for as much as I have, say, Morbid Angel and some of this other stuff. But yeah, and the band sounds good, um, and folks are excited, which that's what more could I ask for?
Go on,
You going back to being strictly a bass player and not having to be a vocalist and frontman, do you enjoy the alleviated pressure, or do you miss being the one in the spotlight, growling at the crowd from center stage?
Well, no, because I have other bands that I do that with. So, that's the whole thing. I enjoy the fact that everything I do is different. It makes it it's exciting for me.
Pete Sandoval is now 61 years old. He's embarking on tours playing Terrorizer music. I'm guessing this means his back problems are behind him for good. Did he have to adapt his style, maybe tone down the constant intensity?
Pete he's a really athletic guy. He always has been. So, I'm not going to say that it's not difficult because, I mean, this would be difficult for anybody at any age,
Yeah.
much less Pete. Being more mature at this point. So, he has. We all have challenges. I mean, that's part of what it is. Some people sacrifice their bodies. Uh, being auto mechanics or
Right.
astronauts or what have you, and we sacrifice our bodies, playing extreme music.
Is this run with Terrorizer strictly a live endeavor, or are you guys itching to enter the studio to maybe record some new material?
Well, funny you should ask. We actually have some new stuff, but I don't have anything to announce yet.
On a more potentially contentious subject, well, obviously Jesse Pintado can't participate in this tour, but since this tour does celebrate the anniversary of World Downfall, was there any thought of inviting Oscar Garcia, or are those bridges long burned? Are there legal issues with him having his own version of Terrorizer LA?
Um, you know, we haven't discussed it. Um, I I can't tell you that I've even spoken to Oscar since maybe 1990. He's kind of a difficult guy to get in touch with. He kind of does his own thing, and he kind of always has. Jesse, of course, we miss Jesse. I mean, he kind of invented this kind of, people, a lot of people refer to him as the godfather of grind, and I don't know that I disagree with that. He's he was a hell of a guy, and it's just unfortunate that he left us far too soon.
Grindcore often embraces a shambolic, almost scummy sound. I guess that's the crust punk influence for you. But World Downfall sounded tight and powerful, way more precise and musically intricate than, say, early Napalm Death or similar bands of that genre and era. Do you see a clear divide between grindcore and death metal, or is it all just metal for you?
Well, I mean, so I kind of view, in my worldview, I view Terrorizer as being more of a punk band,
Uh huh.
and Morbid being more of an extreme metal band. So yes, there's fast drums, there's loud guitars and stuff, but the the whole theme of Terrorizer is a lot more socially aware,
Yeah.
and this kind of stuff. So again, it's another side of the same coin, right?
About 12 years ago, Earache reissued World Downfall in full dynamic range, and it sounds killer. Did you or the others have any input into this process, or was it entirely a label decision? And how do you feel about the reissue?
Oh, well, I'm glad that they did it. I mean, again, see, this just speaks to the fact that folks care. I'm elated the fact that some of these old records that I managed to be a part of are still out there kicking it. Most bands, like, everybody didn't sound the same,
Mm.
and there was I think a lot. You can go from band to band and region to region, and um, everybody kind of had their own sound. And nowadays that's changed a lot, and everybody, they say they're influenced by this, that, or the other thing. It's virtually plagiaristic. Um,
Yeah.
this is some of what I hear, but no, that's okay. I mean, the 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 cream always rises to the top.
Yep.
And that's how it is. There's a lot more bands today as well than there were back in the day. So it's kind of hard to keep track of it all, to be honest.
Yeah. You recently just wrapped up a Latin American run with Ultimas. Those crowds are known for being wild. Did the reality live up to the expectations and reputation? Any standout moments from that tour?
I mean, always. I mean, again, I just get back to I really enjoy. I probably have the best job in the world, and I get to travel around, I get to make new friends everywhere, and I get to play music, and that's all I ever wanted to do from when I was a little kid, and like I said, I mean, I'm happy to be strong and healthy and be able to do some of this stuff, not only physically, but the fact that, folks care about it. That's a wonderful compliment on my life choices.
Ultimas also played some European shows last year in support of the sophomore release Epic, but there was no dates here in France. Any chance we'll see that corrected in the future?
You know, um, I'm all about playing anywhere and everywhere that makes sense. France is, I mean, we have a lot of fans in France. I think the last time I was in France, what was I doing? I think we did Motoculture Fest. Yeah, that's a wonderful festival. I love it.
Mm,
Uh, so yeah, I mean, in fact, I think they were speaking about possibly having Ultimus play in 26.
yeah.
I haven't heard anything definite yet, but we sure would love to do that.
Any new activity in your country music world? We really enjoy Drinking with the Devil and Buyer Beware. They sound like a sort of Billy Joe Shaver resurrected from the dead.
Well, I have a lot of material. I just haven't, I've been so dang busy with everything else. I haven't had a chance to really sit down and focus on it. But I have the material. I probably have enough for a couple records.
Wow.
Um, but it's just, that's it's a whole different ball of wax. I mean, it's a different band. Um, and it's work to get everybody together and say, okay, let's do this. And it's not it's not like with Pete. Okay, obviously, I have Morbid and Terrorizer. Same thing with the guitar player. So with each different thing, it's a whole nother logistical challenge.
Meet me Sunday afternoon. Somehow he knew I wouldn't be at church. He went straight to the saloon.
You fronted Morbid Angel, played with Terrorizer, and explored country music, all which are from completely different worlds. What connects these projects for you creatively? Is there a common thread?
Well, I suppose that it's me in the flesh doing it all. I really like music, and I have different emotions and different things that I like, and some bands are better vehicles for one thing or the other. Um, so I just do it all. I look forward to saying yes, let's do this, or yes, let's do that, as opposed to nah, I don't want to.
In your book, you talk about your love for Alice Cooper. Have you seen him live recently? The guy is pushing 80 years old and is still phenomenal, even vocally. You yourself had quite a milestone birthday recently. Um, do you think you've mellowed with age, or do you still have that urge to go up out there and fuck shit up?
Well, I mean, I enjoy what I do.
Mm.
I don't know what else that I would rather do. Um, it's a vocation. I mean, when you have a call to do something, it's not really a choice. It's you know, music has haunted me since I was a little kid. So um, it's something that it's just an integral part of me.
A lot of metal bassists are basically guitarists who switch to bass just to get into a band. You were actually trained on upright bass. Do you think it gives a different feel to your bass lines? Does the bass play a different role in the bands you participate in beyond just playing the root note or following the riffs, which is the standard in extreme metal?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of really good bass players out there. A lot of times with with extreme metal, there's not a lot of room to walk. From a bass player, vocabulary. That's part of the reason why I like some of the roots rock and stuff that I did with say Headcat or some of this other stuff. Very, it's loose and open, and you could play multiple different lines and they would all be correct. Whereas with extreme metal, everything moves by, so quickly and and chromatically. There's not a lot of room to break out of the being more working with the guitars. So that's the thing. When I listen, and you brought up Alice Cooper earlier. If you listen to the original Alice Cooper band, the bass was huge and it was all over the place, which is one of the things I like about the band. But alas, nobody writes songs that way anymore. All that kind of big rock, that, and the bass lines that you heard out of such bands as Grand Funk, or even Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, what have you. Chris Squire from Yes. People don't write songs that way anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, as much as those various records by those bands really moved me as I was developing and my skills and what have you as a kid, I don't know whether if those records actually came out today, whether they would be received the same way, because the years have changed the style. They've changed the way that folks record. I mean, a lot of these records were done where just everybody got in a room all at once, and you could hear that. It's not so much, play the riff one time and then cut and paste it in Pro Tools and clean everything up and take all the air out. It just really takes the soul out more than anything else. I mean, I sound like an old guy. Well, I am an old guy, but I sound like an old guy complaining and telling some kid to get out of my front yard. But the point is I like old music, and because of those elements, there's a lot more humanity to it. In my listening anyway.
In your book, you talk about going after what you wanted in a militaristic fashion. Your band was like a battalion, and recording and playing live and other endeavors were like targets or objectives. Is this still your mindset these days, now that your place in metal is firmly secured?
Well, I mean, so the way that we did it was almost more of a game back then. The traveling. I mean, we were on such low budgets that everything was, clunking around in vans and crappy clubs, and a lot of it was very difficult. So we kind of just started making, our internal dialogue was, okay, we're the crack commando unit. We got our guy, we have all these different people, and we're going out and we're tackling mission after mission. And that was more that was just probably a way to tolerate some of the the garbage that we had to put up with when we first started. So do I look at things? I mean, I would say that I'm still quite disciplined when it comes to the performances, and always making sure that I'm well rehearsed, because quite frankly, I mean, sometimes people get older and whatever, and they don't really play that much anymore, and they drink a lot before they go on. And I really feel like that's disrespectful to the fans, especially these days when folks have a lot of choices on what to spend their what do we call entertainment dollars on. And the fact that they're choosing to to support what I'm doing, I'm gonna make sure that they get their money's worth every night to the best of my ability.
Morbid Angel's E album, the live Entangled and Chaos, was a killer live snapshot of the golden era of Morbid Angel, but a few key songs were left off, like God of Emptiness and Where the Slime Live, and the lack of stage banter kind of makes it a cold, clinical record. Have you considered putting out a live album of your I Am Morbid project, which would perhaps correct this injustice, and maybe this could be the L record?
Well, I mean, we have not discussed that, no. And Entangled was, we recorded probably 8 or 9 different shows. It's kind of a compilation from it's not just one show. I mean, it's you know, some night different nights, and that's what ended up on the record. So you want to hear some of the other stuff live? Well, you have to come see me.
Your book has now been out for 5 years, and in it you wrote that you had no interest in going back to Morbid Angel. It's been nearly 15 years since Illud Divinum Insanus came out, and the band has only managed to squeeze out one record in that whole time. Do you have any idea what's going on with Trey, or are the lines of communication totally dead for good? And even if the band is old news for you, do you miss the relationship, or at least the times when things were going well between you?
Well, let me unpack that a little bit. So I have not spoken to Trey in many years. You know, at the time, um, we had some wonderful successes together, and you know, it's that's not where we are today. Uh, I certainly have joy and respect for the years that you know we put in together, and really did something that was special.
For a period of time, you were involved in a local wrestling league. So Vinny Stigma from Agnostic Front, Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, Bob Mould of Husker Du also dabbled, or still dabble, in the world of wrestling. Not to mention Chris Jericho from Fozzy, who started out as a wrestler before doing music. What is it with rock and roll and wrestling? Is it the storytelling, the pageantry, the theatrics? Are there philosophical connections between the world of metal and wrestling?
Well, that's a good question. I was just a fan of it, you know, from a kid, and of course, you know, growing up in North Carolina, the Charlotte area, that's where the promotion, one of the main promoters was. So, you know, one of my friends in school, his dad was actually the promoter. I got to meet all these guys. I mean, it's just, you know, it's something, either you get it or you don't. Yeah, it's a soap opera. Yeah, it's very, it's carnival-esque. I always found it fun and entertaining. Um, as far, you know, what other people's motivations are or aren't, as far as that goes. I mean, I don't see it being anywhere near the way that it was ever how many years ago. But then again, what is it anywhere near the way it was so many, you know?
You've played in Paris quite a few times, whether it be with Morbid Angel, Am Morbid, or Vltimas, and next month with Terrorizer. Do you have any special memories from playing here in Paris, concert-wise, or anything else that sticks out?
I know I'm gonna have a good meal, that's for sure.
Any favorite restaurants here in France?
I just like French food in general. I mean, you know, you guys really get it. And, you know, some countries don't get it, France does.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, it's, you know, but again, I like the differences between different countries. That's what makes the world special to me, is that there's differences everywhere as opposed to everything being so dang generic. Even though we're in a mad rush towards making everything in the world generic, while it's still some differentiation, I can still enjoy it.
So you prefer French food over English food?
Yes.
Speaking of Paris, and this is a little bit more somber, you played the Bataclan Theater with Morbid Angel in 2012. In 10 days, we'll be commemorating 10 years of the terror attacks in that very same theater. Do you remember how you learned about what happened and what your first thoughts were?
You know, there's a lot of this kind of angst in the world right now, and it's unfortunate. Um, but I don't know what people would expect when you take, you know, and jam together people from, you know, varying different cultures that just they don't see eye on damn near anything. These are the kinds of things that happen, and it's just the price that everybody has to pay for, um, you know, the type of making things generic and integrated, that they want to do. So, I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm saddened by it, but I'm not
Yeah.
surprised.
Well, we're going to wrap things up on a more upbeat note. Is there anything you want to tell your French fans before you tear shit up next month with Terrorizer in Paris?
Oh yeah, man. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Hopefully I'll make some more new friends because I do like doing that. And we're lean, mean fighting machine, and we're going to bring it.
Okay, well, thanks for talking to us, David. See you soon.
Be good. Bye-bye.